Well, Hariata,
Ai,
you went as a teenager down to Turakina. Your first time living away from Ruatahuna.
no, it's been the second time.
Okay. Still, Marton's quite a long way away.
Mm-hmm.
How was all that?
Yes, I was sent to Turakina College, and at first I thought, ooh, this is another journey. And I had my thoughts of, what am I going to do? What's going to happen to me? You know, all of those things. But anyway, I turned up at Turakina. That was the second term of 1955. And that was the second term of 1955, and I got sent down there. And there was one girl from here, from Ratahuna, and she was Georgina Kearns. And so when I arrived, she'd come up by me and we sat talking, and then I was put on the table where she is with 4 other girls, and that's where we have our table for meals. And so it was a bit strange at first to go to a college, a girls' college, and then I had to learn the ropes, you know, the do's and the don'ts. So I had to learn quite fast about those, the do's and the don'ts. But also at the same time, I do believe, and I'm not trying to show, I do believe that I knew how to get girls out of behaviour that they shouldn't be doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I can talk to them. That kind of thing. And we had one girl from Ruatoki, and she turned up. Oh my gosh! We thought, oh my gosh, here comes the girl from Ruatoki. And she was quite hard case. She's quite hard case. And she stood at the door and looked at us, and we thought, ooh, she's ready for a fight. You know, she just got come across as a person that was ready to. You try and do things to me, I'll fix you. Sort of, you know, you can just about read the body language. And then she did come in, and they said, right, come in. And she did come in. I said, take a seat. So she sat all the way right at the back. And then the principal said to her, read the words on the board, please. And she looked at, you know, she was looking like this at the board, and she couldn't see a thing. I said, can you see? No. Well, can you come in front and sit? Which she did. And anyway, she sat there, and yeah, she read the words, and that was all right. That was her first day. Second day, yeah, not bad. Third day, and then it came to a week. And then all of a sudden, it was 6 months. And I thought, oh yes, she's all right. She's part of the group. And then we used to have knitting classes or sewing classes. And we were knitting jerseys. And she said to us, I'm going to sit up on the windowsill, and it's a moonlight night, and knit my jersey. I want to finish my jersey. And we told her, it's too late to do that. It's okay, I can see. Yeah, which she did. And the way she went next and the way, and we thought, oh, she's going to beat us. She's going to finish her jersey before us. Then came the day we had to go to the knitting class thing. And we went to the knitting class, and then the teacher said, hands up those who've just about finished their jersey. She put her hand up. Oh, can you bring me your garment, please? And she walked up, and she was standing behind the teacher, and we were in front. And then the teacher opened up her jersey. And then when it opened up, and we all went, you know, we were looking at the jersey, and we were holding on to a giggle. But she wasn't looking, you see, she was busy showing off to us at the back of the teacher, going like this to her. She's finished her duty, and then she heard the teacher saying, "You stupid girl, look what you've done." And she had a look, she had holes all over her.
The moonlight hadn't helped.
Yes, the moonlight. And that's what we were laughing about.
So they taught you how to knit,
Yes.
and the basic was Turakina then partly, was it bilingual in those days? Some in Maori, some in English, or
No,
did you have to
actually,
learn all in English?
yes,
Yeah.
mostly English.
Okay.
Mostly. We did have Māori classes,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And lots of singing, I guess.
Yes, but we did have mostly English. We had
okay.
to learn, yes.
And what did you learn about being Presbyterian, the faith at Turakina?
They were good. The teachers were good. They were good at teaching us everything pertaining to the church. Most things pertaining to the church. How to behave as young women, and how to speak with people, and especially because we go out and entertain the old people in the homes.
That's right, you did. You had the choir and you'd go around. I remember when a group from Turakina came to our church in Foxton.
Yes. And so we had to learn how to do things properly, and not go there and think, well, while you're back at home, you can just, do things the way you do it at home. And so we were taught how to be ladies. And how to behave as ladies, and taught how to cook, all of those things, and to milk the cows, and to churn the milk and make butter.
I didn't learn that at my school.
And that's what we were taught.
Wow.
Yeah, how to churn the milk and make butter, and so we didn't have to buy butter. We were able to make it and then take it to the table, so butter wasn't a problem to Turakina girls. And everything pertaining to what you do as a young woman, we learned all that at Turakina, and the teachers were good with us. They were good. They were strict, but we soon learned how to behave. And then, of course, going out to entertain older people, and going to play sports. We went to play sports, and we were always out to beat Ngātawa College.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were always out to beat Ngātawa College. And I do remember playing hockey, and because as a Māori, we're not used to playing with shoes on, and so it became a bit of strange to be playing with shoes. So I took my shoes off and chucked it to the side, and the teacher said, "You better go back and put those shoes on, and those big, long stockings." Yeah. And so I had to get off the field and put them on and play. You do not play on a field without shoes or those stockings. I soon learned. Okay, all right. So all of these things we were taught, and then we were taught other things pertaining. If we want to be teachers, these are the subjects that you do, and these are the things that will be helpful for you, and everything. So it was a great time being at college, because then you start to learn how to be independent, and that was the main thing, how to be independent. And then, of course, your group has to do, you might be told to do a karakia. And so we learned everything about the church, and everything about how to behave as a young woman, and to become mothers, and all of those things. And so it was a time of learning to be independent, and you can survive in the world, which we were able to do, because then we had that kind of instructions, and then we knew that we can survive in a bigger world. Yeah.
So you were talking about, as a child, feeling like you were trying to be invisible.
Yes.
And that you were taught to not ask questions.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did Turakina, did that change a bit at Turakina?
Yes, it was Turakina. I think with Turakina, because we were able to ask questions, and so I was able to ask questions if I didn't know, what it was all about. And so I started to learn to ask questions, and I started to learn to be a bit more comfortable as a person. Then I don't have to worry about being told, what do you want to know about, all of those things.
Right.
And so Turakina had made me see a different way of looking at myself. That I was able, and I thought, yeah, I'm able to do things for myself
Bit
because,
more confident.
bit more confident, yeah.
And as you discovered a little bit more about yourself, what did you discover that maybe you were good at?
What I've always wanted to be, and I think Mona picked up on that, I always wanted to be a missionary lady.
Really?
That's what I wanted to be.
Wow.
And I thought, one of these days I'm going to be a missionary lady. Yeah, and I want to go overseas. That was going on in my mind. And so that helped me to know how to get myself into that kind of a situation. And it built my faith up and built the way I was, starting to build my own ways of dealing with other girls. Because I remember the one I was telling you about, she came like a bulldozer, and she said to me, and you were always the one there, making certain that we don't do anything that's not good for us. And I looked at her and I said, I didn't do that. She said, yes, you did. You were always there. Once we do something wrong, then you come to us and talk to us. And I looked at her and I said, did I really? She said, of course you did. And then we learned, there is a different way of doing things.
Because sometimes other people see the leadership gifts in us that we don't see for ourselves sometimes.
Yes.
So you think you at Turakina you experienced being a leader in that way, just an authentic way for you.
Yeah, for me at least, anyway. Yeah. And so that helped me to do things that I know would be good for me. And I knew that I could do it. And I can go and move forward and keep moving forward.
And what did the staff at Turakina see in you, do you think?
I think they saw, I know that most of them said to me, Hariata, you can talk to the girls. The girls, they said the girls, they do look up to you, which I didn't know. Yeah, and you can say things to them without hurting their feelings. Yes, and I think it was that they did pick up in me. You know how to talk to girls, that their feelings are hurt, and you get them out of that way.
So in some ways you're a bit like your dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad was a peaceful man, and he was always helping others. More like my dad than my mother.
Yes. And were you okay at the academic stuff as well? Or?
Not that bad, not too bad. Yeah, I was good at maths when I was at primary, but when I went to secondary school, what the heck is the jolly thing? I don't understand a word about it. Geometry.
You got through. So how many years at Turakina?
I think I was there for about 3 years.
Okay. And then what did you do?
Then I finished college. Then I come back home, and then John Norton sent me to Wairoa by Sister Ross and Sister May.
Wairoa?
Wairoa. And to work with the deaconesses there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's where I started to working with the deaconesses in Wairoa. And from there, from Wairoa, they sent me to Matahi School. because the school was still under the church. So they sent me there to help Miss Crawford, and I enjoyed that.
So these days would we call that like teacher aid?
Yes.
To working in the school mainly,
Yes.
the primary school?
Yes, primary school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I enjoyed that too. And then they sent me to Waiahau to work with the deaconess there. And that's where I went. I met the man I got married to. The real nation of all my good dreams. I always say, that's what I say to him. You're the real nation of all my good dreams.
And how old were you when you got married?
I was 19. I was 19 when I got married.
And he was nearly 40?
Yes, nearly 40. In his 30s, yeah. Yes, and so that's where my married life started, in Waiahau.
And so you lived in
We lived in Waiahau and milked cows, and I loved it. I loved being a farmer's wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Milking cows?
Milking cows, feeding pigs.
Like they taught you at school?
Pardon?
Like they taught you at school?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, knowing how to make butter.
Yes.
You know, all of those things, yeah.
And was there his family there as well? Was it extended family for you?
The land belonged to his family.
But it's a long way from your family.
Yes, yes. But then I also had family there, cousins, and yeah, I had an auntie there, which I just met because I didn't even know her until my husband said to me, "You've got an auntie here," and I said, "I had heard that I got an auntie there," and so he took me to meet her, and she was only a short lady.
Well, what would you like to say about your husband?
My
Tell us about
husband,
your husband.
my husband was a good man. Only is there are some times that he drinks too much. He goes overboard. and then he comes back and I thought, oh please just come back home and just hop in bed and don't say a word. Oh no, he's got to make a fuss. And he calls out from outside, "Dear, your darling is here," and I thought, oh, don't say that. And when he says that, and I was like, oh no, please just come into the house and just go to sleep. Oh no, he's got to make a fool of himself, to be quite honest.
But not aggressive.
No, he wasn't
Was
aggressive.
he being like over romantic?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And I used to say to him, "Get in this bed, Hera," and just shut up. And yes, and of course from then on, then he keeps going to, to have some good times with my cousins. Then he comes back and says to me, "Oh, by the way, so-and-so is pregnant." "Yeah, what about it?" He said, "When the baby's born, it's ours." And I looked at him. "Hera, most people go to drink, not to ask for babies." And he said, "Well, it's ours." And that's how we got our first, not first, the second child, or third child, because he loved children. And so the first child that he had a lot to do with was his own niece, one of his brother's daughter. And the second one was his cousin, and she's still with me today. And then Hilda was the one that she belonged more to my side of the family than his side.
And you had her from a baby?
Yes, I had her from a baby.
Well, what was it like for you then, as a young woman, young married, and
I loved
suddenly
it.
with a baby? Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Because I think we were, as growing up as, in a big family, you learned how to look after your little siblings and also your nephews. And so I loved it. It was like, oh, this is neat. I've got a baby to spoil. Yeah. And so I loved being a mother.
So you couldn't have children yourself?
No, we weren't blessed with that.
Right.
And they did tell me what was wrong. And the doctor said to me, "You tell your husband." I said, "No, you tell him yourself. Don't let me tell him." Yeah, so he believed that I was the problem, and I didn't say anything.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
We couldn't have children.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
But he was quite happy with the children that we
Inherited.
adopted. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. And then we had our other child that the social welfare in Whakatane had, oh, there's a baby in the hospital, but it was supposed to be for someone else. And I said, yes, so what do you want me to do? Can you tell her there's a baby in the hospital, papers are signed and ready to be picked up? And I said, what's wrong with me? And she said, do you want to know? Yeah, why not? Let's go and pick her up. And that's how we got our next child. And the last two was in Hariata, and it was on my husband's side of the family. And I went asking for those ones. Well, I didn't ask for the last one. It was given to me, which was a blessing, to be quite honest. Yeah. So my children are a blessing.
Yeah. And of course, this is a normal part of Māori culture. The whāngai, much more so than for us as Pākehā. We have, both in our families, there's been people that have joined the family in a bit, but the formal adoption process and all that is a different thing in the Pākehā world. But where you're talking about a much more natural, integrated process where people, did your kids know who their birth parents were?
Yes, we made sure that they knew who their birth parents were. We didn't hide it from them. So that because they were always around us. And so, for me, telling them that these are your parents, it gives them a bit of a balance, I suppose.
Yep.
And it's not a traumatic thing for them.
Yeah, it wasn't a traumatic thing for them.
Just a richness of we've got this side and that side, and
Yes, and they know that we're family. You come from a family, you're on Dad's side of the family, and you're on my side of the family, and so they were quite happy with being treated like that.
And how did being a mum, how did that change you? How did that grow you and heal you in some ways?
I do believe that my children did a lot. Just having children around and to love them as my own, and also for them to return the same love. And even today, when I ring up to them and they said, oh, Mum, and to have that sound, the word Mum, and there's a lot of love in that word when they call you Mum. And it comes out in the way they call you Mum. And know that you are, their mother, as far as they're concerned. You're my mum. Yes, I do have my biological mum, but you're my mum. You brought me up, and I am the way I am today because of you. That kind of recognition. That kind of recognition. And one thing I do know, and they did say, all you wanted was, Mum, for us to always think ahead and to move ahead in whatever we do. You want the best for education for us, and you go out and do mahi so that we can get the best education. And I said, I do believe in education, and I do believe that you can do better, much better than me. All of, and that's what you strive to do, is to make certain that they'll be better than you, and then at least they can do the same for their own children. I'm sure you two think like that. Yeah.
And was faith part of your family life?
Yeah.
How did faith come in your family?
My husband became a tohunga o tarina to faith. And because he became a tohunga o tarina to faith, I just put my religion just to the side and support him in his walk and make sure that I was there beside him all the time. And then he suffered the stroke, And then he said to me, I know you always wanted to be a minister. I give you my blessings. You can go. And hence I went down to Knox College. I was very, very fortunate. God had a lot to do with it. If God wasn't in the picture, I wouldn't have been able to get there. And so his hand was always on my life right through, without me knowing. Without me knowing. But today, I thank God for that, because his hand was always on me. And when I lost my husband, it was a big blow to lose him. And there was 3 of us that, well, my big sister lost her husband, that one there, lost her husband. And then my little sister lost her husband, and then I lost my husband. And we all stayed together and said, when somebody said to us, don't you people want another man? Oh, no, they're a nuisance. It wasn't so much a nuisance, no, because we're so used to having our husbands, and they were good to us. And I said, no, I don't want to have another husband, because my husband was a good man. And
so I want to ruin the picture.
No, didn't want to ruin the picture. Also, I didn't want to put my children into a different, because sometimes when you get married, your children seem to be put on the back burner without you intending to. But sometimes it happens, and I didn't want my children to feel like that. And I think the same with my 2 sisters.
So how old were you? That was a pivotal year for you when things changed a lot, when Peter died, and you went to Knox College to do the ministry training.
To be honest, I wasn't even 60. Wasn't even 60. But he kept saying to me, I'll reach my 80th. Oh, I don't know, but you seem to do it, Hira. And then when he came to the one, he said to me, I'll reach my 80th. And I said, oh, goody, by then I'll be able to collect my own benefit. Well, he died before that. I didn't 90. Say, I didn't, no, yeah. No, 90, he did say 90, yeah, got to 80, yeah. Right. Got 80, yeah. And then to 90. And that's when I said, oh, so
there you were in your late 50s.
Yes.
You could easily have just sort of hung up your shoes and just chilled out. But no, you embarked on a whole new career.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. What was it like that for you going down to Knox?
Oh, it was a different world altogether. And when I got there, and I said, what the heck am I doing here? Because I looked at all the students were young. Oh, God. And of course the first word that I heard was hermeneutic. What the heck is that word? Honestly, it was a strange world. It was very strange. And also I knew that I had to learn to feel the heartbeat of Dunedin and see what the heartbeat of Dunedin was like. And I thought, oh wow, I'm here. You can't do anything. You just have to move and do the best that you can. Yeah.
But there weren't any other Māori there with you that year,
no,
was there? Yeah. So it was probably the first time for you being in totally Tauiwi Pākehā environment.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, no te reo.
Yes. But I was very lucky with the students. Andrew Scott was the one that said, it's all right, Hariata, I'll set everything up for you, and you just press that button, press that button, press that button, and everything will work for you.
Yeah, but you had to write long assignments.
Wasn't that long. The only one was the last, I think we have to, I've forgotten how many words we had to write. Yeah, the last one. And then, I that's when I graduated and come back home. Yeah. But I said to my tutors, can I write it in Māori? Yes, you can write it in Māori, but you sit here and explain it to us. And I thought, oh, that's double work. Yeah. And then I wrote it in English. And I kept saying to myself, I can get all the way to Rotown and back. They still don't understand my English. But it's amazing how God helps you in that kind of way. Yeah. Yeah. And so I was able to do that, and then I graduated, and then I come back. But I had already lost my husband by the time I come back. And
were there some specific special moments, like your ordination service or anything which was particularly where you felt God really present for you?
Yes. When I was at the graduation, it was nice to have people that I knew there. I had a nephew there that was working at Otago University, and he turned up and he said, "Oh, Aunt," and I said, "Oh, it's nice to have you here with me." Yeah, because when I started at the college, he was just going into the university at Otago to teach, and I went to his pōhiri. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, I wasn't expecting you." And I said, "Don't worry, you're coming to my pōhiri tomorrow." And he said, "What pōhiri?" "I'll come tomorrow, and then you'll know." Yeah. And so I was lucky.
It's good
God had his hand, always had his hand ahead of me. I'm making certain that there were people there that I can be comfortable with, and also it's whānau. So, yes, God had his hand on me.
Good.
Yeah. It's amazing how God seems to have his hand on you wherever you turn.